I just want you to picture this for a second. Whilst you're in your comfy bed, enjoying your sleep, or scrolling endlessly on your phone for hours on end, there's another man out there locking in, putting in the work, hustling, grinding, taking risks, and getting closer to their goals while you get left behind. All because you can't put your phone down for a few minutes or leave your warm, comfy bed 1 hour earlier. I want to be very clear with you guys. This isn't a motivational video. I'm here to give you the tools, but also a kickstart to help you lock in, because you can change your life at any point if you really want to. Let's start with your mindset. If you want to have a real breakthrough in your life, you have to change what you believe is important, because your beliefs will impact every decision you make. In my teens and my 20s, I believed getting girls and having a good time was the most important thing. So I spent all my time and energy thinking what I'm gonna do on the evenings and weekends, instead of focusing on my business and leveling up, because I believed having a good time was the most important thing. My business, my self-improvement, my education, my knowledge came second, third, fourth, and fifth. By the time I reached the end of my 20s, I had 2 failed businesses, 15,000 pound debt, and a bunch of bad habits, all because I had the wrong mindset and the wrong set of beliefs. Because I had spent so long believing the wrong thing, these bad habits continued into my 30s, so I found it really hard to lock in. I rewired my brain to think getting girls and going out was the most important thing. It's only when I finally had enough of failing, feeling stuck, not achieving the things that I wanted, but also seeing people around me actually progress and get further in life, I had to force that mindset shift and force myself to lock in. Once I started to believe my business and self-improvement were the most important thing in the world, locking in became easier every day. But also, I finally started to see some results. If you believe there is something more important than improving your life or your situation, you will find it hard to lock in, but also you will fall behind. That's why I want you to take a second and just think about your situation. Are you happy with what you're doing with your life and your time? And if you're sick of doing the same thing and not achieving the things that you want, now's the time to force yourself and lock in. That's exactly what I did. And I got angry. And if you're getting angry, good. Use that to force yourself to lock in and take action. Because once you truly believe changing your life and your situation is the most important thing in the world, you will be able to lock in on another level, but also stay locked in until you achieve your goal. The second belief that will stop you from locking in is thinking you can balance your life, your friends, your family, going out, your girlfriend, your business, the gym, whatever you think it is. If you think you can balance everything and achieve greatness, you're gonna find it very hard. Society, the media, the news will tell you that you need balance. You don't want to overwork yourself. You don't want to put in extra hours, because they want to keep you poor and a slave to the system. The truth is, changing your life takes a lot of sacrifices, and you're gonna have to learn to say no to a lot of things. Because if you try to squeeze in those important tasks throughout the day, you will never be able to achieve the things that you want. That's why it's so important you learn to say no and lock in, because when you lock in, you will be able to achieve so much more, but also you'll be able to get results that you thought were never possible. But if you're trying to fit in going out and working on your business, you'll always be distracted, because you'll think, what do I need to wear? How do I need to look? How much money do I need to go out? Once you go out, you'll end up doing stuff. Maybe you might want to drink, smoke some weed, chill with your friends. You have a really late night. The next day, you're too tired to work on that business. All you want to do is relax. That's why you've got to learn to make a lot of sacrifices if you want to change your life. By making those sacrifices, you will be able to lock in and work really hard. You can either continue to try to balance your life over the next 3 months, fit in those Christmas parties, fit in going out with your friends, fit in your girlfriend, and try making 2025 your year. Then you can do the same thing in 2026, 2027, and maybe even 2028. Or you can start to make some sacrifices today and spend the next 3 months and really lock in hard and change the direction of your whole life. This may even mean you go in ghost mode. I've left the UK and moved to Asia so I can go all in on my business and changing my life. I've left my friends, my family, everyone that I love spending time with, so I can go all in on my business and I have no distractions. Going ghost can be one of the best things you can do. Moving out to Asia was the best decision I've ever made. I've been able to really lock in and get things done. And if you need any help with that, just message me on Instagram, or there's a link in the description where you can work with me. Moving out to Asia has been the best decision I've made, and going ghost is one of the best things you can do. So think about disappearing, make a few sacrifices, get rid of those distractions, learn to say no, lock in, and spend the next 3 to 6 months changing your whole life. In 2023, I had one goal: to get into the best shape of my life, to lose fat and get shredded. I went from skinny fat to a pretty good physique within 6 months, all because I had one goal. Because I focused on one goal, everything I did helped me to achieve that goal. I watched training videos, I tracked what I ate, I took different supplements, I tried different routines. I even booked a training session with a professional bodybuilder, which was one of the best investments I made at that time. By focusing on one thing, I was able to lock in really hard and achieve the things that I wanted within 6 months. That's why at the beginning, when you're trying to lock in and force yourself to do the things you need to do, I'd recommend you having one goal, because it'll help you to stay focused but also develop the right habits so you stay locked in. Once you accomplish the goal that you want, you can move on to the next goal. When you have too many goals, like you want to get a girl, you want to make 10k a month, you want to get into shape, you want to meet like-minded men, you want to travel around Asia, having 5 goals, your brain doesn't know what it needs to do. It doesn't know where should it focus, what is the priority. But by having one goal, whether it's your fitness, your self-improvement, your confidence, or your finances, if you focus on that one thing and achieve it, it'll give you a massive boost to your confidence. But also, whatever you learn whilst trying to achieve that goal, it'll make achieving your second goal a lot easier. Also, I want you to be really clear on your goals. Back in 2023, all I said to myself is I want to get shredded and into the best shape of my life. That's not clear enough. Also, it doesn't give you anything to measure against. So now I say I want to get below 17% body fat. By having that number, every week I can check my body fat and see if I'm getting closer to my goals or further away from my goals. Also, when you have a specific number or a specific target, your brain finds ways to make it happen. There is a whole system to achieving your goals. That's why I've created a separate video I recommend you watching after this one. The next thing that stops people from locking in is believing they don't have enough time. I hear this from the people I work with. They always tell me they don't have time, but they have time to snooze for an extra 30 minutes in the morning. They have time to watch Netflix, to go out with their friends, watch football games, scroll on Tinder for a few hours. They have time for that, but they don't have time to lock in and work on themselves. Let's be honest, we have time, but we waste a lot of it, including myself. So let's look at a typical day. You have 24 hours in a day. Let's say you sleep for 8 hours and you work for 8 hours. That takes away 16 hours of your day, leaving you with 8 hours. And let's break those 8 hours down. Let's say for the next 4 hours, you do random stuff and you eat. That leaves you with 4 hours. I know how you can change your life with just 1 hour a day, because that's what I did. I spent 12 months working on my business every morning for 1 hour. And within a year, I was able to quit my NHS job. But just imagine I spent 2 hours, 3 hours, or even 4 hours. What took me 12 months, I could have achieved in 3 months. If you can lock in 4 hours a day for the next 3 months, I guarantee it, you will get some insane results. Now, if you're like me, lacking a bit of focus, you always get distracted easily, I'd recommend you do this next thing. Plan your day and your week. When I started to plan my week, I realized how much free time I actually had. It actually was a little bit depressing at the time, but it freed up so much time because I organized my day and I planned everything. I planned what time I'm going to wake up, go to the gym, work on my business, what time I was going to eat, and what time I was even going to sleep. But I also planned what I was going to eat, the meals. I'd have Monday jacket potato and tuna, Tuesday beef wrap, Wednesday chicken pasta. I planned everything. I also planned my gym routine. So I didn't have to think throughout the day, am I going to train chest today? Am I going to train back? What am I going to eat after the gym? These things take up time and they stop you from being locked in. But if you plan everything at the beginning of the week, as soon as Monday comes, you know, first thing in the morning, you're going to work on your business and you just end up focusing on that and locking in. Everything else has been planned. So as soon as those 4 hours are over, you can get to the gym, come home, make your food, and put in a little bit more work if you need to. Planning your day and your week will change your life. It will free up your time and it will allow you to lock in on another level. Another thing you want to do is front load your day. So when you're planning your day, you want to put the most important task at the beginning of this day. This may mean getting up 1, 2, 3, even 4 hours earlier. There's a reason for this, because the mornings are a special time. You have no distractions. You're not mentally fatigued from the day. You can concentrate and lock in so much easier. But if you spend all your day going to work and then you've come home, you've had to go shopping, then you've had to deal with problems throughout the day, when it comes to going to the gym, you don't put in the full effort and you don't lock in. If you're going to work on your business, you find it hard to come up with ideas because you're mentally drained from the day. That's why it's so important you front load your day with the most important tasks. Also, if you spend a couple hours in the morning working on your business, you have the rest of the day to come up with ideas. So when you get home, you can put in another hour and take yourself to the next level. Another factor that will stop you from locking in is distractions. That's why it's important you have an environment that has no distractions at all. I work in a separate room and make sure my desk is clear. Not even a tiny bit of clutter on there that's going to take my focus away from my work. I put my phone into airplane mode and on my Mac, I turn off all notifications, because that one WhatsApp app, as soon as it pings, it can throw you off your game. It's so important that you set up your environment that allows you to lock in but also focus. So get rid of everything that distracts you. Your environment isn't just where you work, it's also the people you spend time with. Make sure these people are not pulling you down and away from your goals. Make sure they're pushing you and forcing you to lock in and do the things you need to do. It's so important that you join a community or find a mentor that you can work with. Whether it's me or someone else, doesn't matter. Just find someone that can hold you accountable but also help you to achieve your goals. Now, if you want to know one of the biggest things that are holding men back, you might want to click here.